Hi, I'm Jennifer Williams, and I'm a covenant partner with South Suburban Missionary Baptist Church. I'm excited to share the legacy of Ruby Jean McEwen Weathersby. She was born in Pike County in rural Mississippi to Reverend Luther McEwen and Alma Rayburn McEwen on August 22nd, 1936. A midwife, Tanny Williams, delivered her in the country where they lived. And Ruby is the oldest of 12 children, two of whom are deceased. The youngest three children were born in a hospital. There is a 25-year difference between Ruby and her youngest sibling. Reverend McEwen was the pastor of a church in Silver Creek, Mississippi, where Jenny Weathersby was a stalwart member. Jenny's son, Walter, was stationed in the French Morocco in Africa. He asked his mother to send him the name and address of some nice girl he could write to. When Ruby declined to give it to Jenny, Reverend McEwen provided her with the address. Walter began writing Ruby while she was a junior in high school. After graduating from high school, Ruby went to Southern University in Louisiana. Walter came home during leave in August 1955 before his next assignment at an Air Force base in Riverside, California. Ruby was excited, and she took a bus home to meet him for the first time after writing to him for over a year. She saw him 3 times before she returned to school. When she returned home for Christmas, they were engaged. Ruby, a girl from the country, gave up her dream to graduate from Southern University to become the wife of an ambitious Air Force sergeant. Their first assignment was in Riverside, California, where they had their first child. A year later, they moved to Long Beach, Long Island, New York, where they welcomed 3 children to join their big sister. After 3 years in New York, they moved to Johnson Air Force Base in Japan. In Japan, Ruby became involved with the Girl Scouts because she thought it was a wholesome learning opportunity for young girls. Although her girls were too young to join Girl Scouts, Ruby was active and later encouraged them to join. This was the beginning of her 35-year journey with the Girl Scouts. While in Japan, Ruby was active in various organizations. She was the president of the Non-Commissioned Officers Wives Club. During her time as president, Ruby faced challenges of racism within the club. There were a few white women who attempted to remove her from her post. When she discussed it with her husband, he told her to stand strong and not to give in to the pressure of racism. Persistence was an attribute Ruby passed on to her children. In 1969, Walter was assigned to Takali, Thailand, where he served as loadmaster to help fighter jets get off the ground to counter North Vietnam's Tet Offensive. Ruby and her children lived in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin at a waiting wives port. Ruby was still involved in Girl Scouts. Her daughters were old enough to join, so she was their Girl Scout leader. After the end of Walter's tour in Thailand, the family moved back to Japan, where he was stationed at Yokota Air Force Base. Ruby continued to be a Girl Scout leader and a cadet leader. She was also active in bowling, softball, and she played golf. She played softball with 2 of her oldest daughters. In 1972, Walter was assigned to Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino, California. Ruby was active in the church choir, Sunday school, and vacation Bible school. She made sure her children were involved in sports, Sunday school, band, and school organizations. Ruby was still active when she moved to Rantoul, Illinois in 1981. She has devoted most of her life to helping children, from guiding Girl Scouts at Yokota Air Force Base in Japan to serving as Dean of Christian Education at Greater New Light Missionary Baptist Church in Rantoul, Illinois. The Girl Scouts of Central Illinois honored Ruby and four others as women of distinction in April 2014. Ruby held positions as a Girl Scout leader, unit manager, and she also served on the board of the Northern Champaign County Community Center for 9 years. Education has always been important to Ruby and her husband, Walter. Although they did not complete college, they expected each one of their 7 children to graduate with a degree from a university. Her father, Reverend McEwen, received his degree in 1980 from Jackson State University at the age of 61. Reverend McEwen served on the South Pike School Board from 1974 until 1985, and he was the first African American elected to public office in Pike County since Reconstruction. All 7 children graduated from college with degrees. There are 2 PhDs, one with a JD, law degree, a certified public accountant, a master's in business administration, MBA, and 2 with marketing degrees. All of her children are successful professionals. Ruby is a firm believer that a person can do whatever he or she wants, and no one should dictate whether or not you are successful. Ruby served for almost 14 years on the Rantoul Township School Board. She was honored as the Grand Marshal of the Rantoul Township High School Alumni Association. She received accolades from the Executive Director, Illinois Association of School Boards, for her devotion, talent, and effort in doing work that benefits the school children in Illinois. Ruby also served on the Fire and Police Commission for 6 years. She is well respected by the people of Rantoul. Ruby has been a sought-after speaker for various events and occasions such as Women's History Month, Black History, and women's events in the church. Ruby was an active member in the Rantoul Business and Professional Women's Organization. She served as president and district director over 10 chapters in Central Illinois. Ruby has been a dedicated member of Greater New Light Baptist Church for almost 40 years. She continues to serve on the trustee board. She was the superintendent of education for several years. Many people call her friend because of her generous and warm heart. Ruby would give you her last if it was not for her husband. She is known as a loyal friend who you can call upon, and she comes right over to provide support as needed. I wanted to highlight Ruby's accomplishments because she has been a woman of excellence and faith. And as my mother, she has supported me in good times and bad times. She always has an encouraging word for her children, loved ones, and anyone who comes into her presence. Because of her volunteerism, all of her daughters and granddaughters are connected to nonprofit organizations and social justice. I myself am involved in AIM, IRS. I am involved, of course, as a covenant partner with South Suburban Missionary Baptist Church, and both of my daughters are involved in nonprofit organizations. Proverbs 31, 10 through 12, 26, and 30 and 31 in the New King James Version says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates." And as I mentioned, Ruby is my mom, and I really am just delighted to be able to share her with you all, because my father passed away. It'll be 2 years this month, March 3rd. And My mom is very special. And if anyone has your parents with you, cherish them, love them, because they are who pours the foundation into your life to help you succeed. And so with that, I want to thank South Suburban Missionary Baptist Church for allowing me to share my mom, Ruby Jean McEwen Weathersby, with you.